Hello friends, very good morning to all of you. So today we are going to discuss PF34, that is refresh token grant. So we'll just try to understand the workflow. I'll just show you one example, also real-time example. Maybe you are using also right now, but maybe you are not aware of that. So we can discuss on that example also, and then we can jump to just configure that refresh token grant in the PingFederate connection, and yeah, and then we can just test using Postman. Yeah. So let's begin. Refresh token grant. So let's try to understand what is this refresh token grant, and then we can do the registration in Ping, and then we can test using Postman. So I'll just this PPT I prepared. I'll quickly just discuss few things with you. So an OAuth refresh token is similar in concept to the access token in that it is issued to the client by the authorization server, and the client doesn't know or care what is inside the token. So then what's the different? Is that the token is never sent to the protected resource. Instead, the client uses the refresh token to request new access token without involving the resource owner. So basically what is happening? So you are not involving the resource owner, but you are getting a refreshed new access token, because access token have some validity, maybe 60 minutes or 120 minutes. So before it expires, you are refreshing that and getting a new access token, and then you are just delegating that to the resource server, and yeah, you are performing the things whatever we are doing. So that's the advantage of refresh token. So in OAuth, an access token could stop working for a client at any point. The user could have revoked the token. The token could have expired, or some other system trigger made the token invalid. The client will usually find out about the token being invalid by using it and receiving an error response, right? Then only we can able to see that, hey, our token looks expired. That's why we are getting some error response. Of course, the client could have the resource owner authorize it again. But what if the resource owner is no longer there? So in OAuth 1.0, that the client had no recourse but to wait for the resource owner's return. To avoid this, the token in OAuth 1.0 tended to live forever until explicitly revoked. This is a bit problematic, right? As it increases the attack surface for a stolen token. The attacker can keep using the stolen token forever, because if you have the very longer validity, then yeah, definitely it can maybe misused also. So then in OAuth 2.2, access tokens were given the option to expire automatically, but we still need a way to access resources when the user was no longer there. So then in OAuth 2.0, this problem is resolved, and there is an option to expire the token automatically, but we still need a way to access resources when the user was no longer there. Then the refresh token now takes the place of long-lived token, but instead of it being used to obtain resources, it is only used to get new access token. That in turn can get the resources. That's true. So it's basically you are not using that refresh token to get the resource. That you can't delegate that refresh token to the resource server. But using that refresh token, you can get a new access token, and that access token you can delegate to the resource server to fetch the resource information. This limits the exposure of the refresh token and the access token in separate but complementary ways. Refresh token also give the client the ability to down scopes it access. If a client is granted scopes like A, B, and C, but it knows that it needs only scope A to make a particular call, it can use the refresh token to request an access token only for the scope A. This lets a smart client follow the security principle of least privilege without burdening less smart clients with trying to figure out what privilege an API needs. Years of deployment experience have shown that OAuth clients tend to be anything but smart, but it is still good to have the advanced capability there for those that wanted to exercise it. Okay. What then if the refresh token itself doesn't work? The client can always bother the resource owner again when they are available. Yeah, that's you have the option, right? That the fallback state for an OAuth client is to do OAuth again. like it's saying that if refresh token not work, then you can simply ask the resource owner to go and again just get your authentication complete so that the new token can be generated by the authorization server. Then you have a concept something of refresh token rotation. So until very recently, a robust strategy to help single page application maintain the user session was using the authorization code flow with PKC in conjunction with silent authentication. Refresh token rotation is a technique for getting new access token using refresh that goes beyond silent authentication. So refresh token rotation guarantees that every time an application exchanges a refresh token to get a new access token, a new refresh token is also returned. That means you are getting, whenever there is a refresh token request is getting sent to the PingFederate or any other authorization server, you are getting a new refresh token along with a new access token also. Therefore, you no longer have a long-lived refresh token that could provide illegitimate access to resources if it ever becomes compromised. That means you can see that is also getting rotated, right? Your refresh token. The threat of illegitimate access is reduced as refresh tokens are continually exchanged and invalidated. Yeah. For example, with refresh token rotation enabled, every time your application exchanges a refresh token to get a new access token, the authorization server also returns a new refresh access token pair. That means you are getting new refresh token along with new access token. This basically safeguard helps you app mitigate replay attacks resulting from compromised tokens. So that's a very good option here for the refresh token rotation. Okay, so that's the end of this slide, and let's quickly jump to the workflow where we can just quickly discuss on, and then we can jump to the PingFed and then we can test using Postman. Okay, so this is an example, but this is a basic diagram of refresh token as we discussed right now. So maybe you are using authorization code grant or the auth code flow, okay, or a PKC flow, and you have access token, and that access token have the lifetime, it expires. So before it expires, you want to renew your access token. So this is a basic flow. So your client application just sent this is direct call also. So it just send a direct call to the authorization server that, and here it has to send some parameters, like we can talk like client credentials or the refresh token, and then you will get a new refresh token, new access token from the PingFederate authorization server. And then you know that you can simply delegate that token to the resource server to access the protected resource. That's a common thing. So this is a basic example as we discussed also, and we can just quickly try this in Postman also. A good example I will say that maybe you all are using also like Outlook client. So you can see that the Outlook client you are using in your company, it have the session established, right? You're not again going for any authentication. Like for example, if you're starting your day and started working on the Outlook, you can see it's always have the session established. It is not asking you to again go for an authentication. So this is basically an example of the refresh token. So here the resource owner is basically accessing that, but what the Outlook client is doing, it basically just renewing that access token before it expires. So it just send that RT to O365 authorization server, and then O365 authorization server will just issue a new refresh token and new access token to the Outlook client, so that the Outlook client can establish a session of this resource owner without interacting, without just asking resource owner to go and again authenticate, right? That we have seen in the presentation also, right? So without just involving this resource owner, it basically this Outlook client is renewing the access token and establishing a session for this resource owner. That we all are using this Outlook client, right? That's an example. Okay. So now let's quickly jump to PingFederate, and what we can do, let's quickly go to PingFederate console. Okay, and now we have already having a connection for the auth code flow. We can use that, or maybe we can create a new one also, but let's go and create a new one. That's fine. Let's mention as a refresh token grant. Let's put this is the client. Sorry, we need to create a new. Where I'm putting. Yeah, I need to go and add a client here. Let's put a client ID. Put a client. Sorry, this spelling is wrong. Copy this. Put a name. Refresh token grant. Okay. Client authentication you can keep as a client secret, or you can use the PKC also. That's fine. Leave this client authentication as a none. or maybe just choose a client secret. Maybe we can we can just see that in Postman. Okay, then we have okay, we need to generate the client secret also. Sorry, let's quickly generate it. I'll keep this in Postman. Let me go to the Postman and I can just choose like the auth code flow only. I'll change this to refresh token test, I'll say, because first we need to get a new access token from using auth code flow, and then we'll try to renew it, refresh it, you can say, or get a new token. So let's choose authorization code flow. Callback will be fine. Yeah, just put the client secret here. Okay, and we can change this also. Okay, go back to the PingFederate. So we have the secret now. Client secret is fine. Leave these options. Redirect URI, just give the Postman one. Okay, bypass authorization approval. Allowed grant types, choose authorization code, and then you need to enable the refresh token grant also. Okay, and other information fine. Choose the access token manager as a test ATM. Okay, restrict to default access token manager is not required. We can just enable this option if we have the multiple access token manager configured, but yeah, right now we have only one, so not an issue. PKC is not required. Validate against all eligible token manager not required. Yeah, this is good. That's all we need to do, and we can go to next, and we can update the extend property so that like it can just authenticate with our HTML form OpenDJ adapter, right? That, if you remember, if you have seen my video earlier, so you can get an idea of that. So automatically replication has done. That's the advantage of this new version of PingFederate. It's just doing the replication automatically also. Okay, so let's get, this is good. Let me copy this refresh token grant. This is done. Okay, this looks fine. Now let's go to Postman, and here let's try to test the authorization code first and get a new token, and then we'll try to refresh that. So yeah, so let's put the client ID. You have the client ID, client secret, all the values I have given. The address is fine, and other information looks good. Okay, now I'll just open a new notepad. Okay, so right now what I'm doing, I'm just using auth code flow. I'm basically trying to generate an access token, and then we'll just refresh it using the refresh token grant. So let's go to Postman and then click on get new access token. It will ask for the values. Let's give the same Abhishek Arts one, the default username for the OpenDJ. Sorry. Give the username, give the password. Let's complete your authentication. Go to Postman. You'll get a new access token here, right? So you can see now you get the access token type, and you get the refresh token also, right? Because you enable the refresh token grant. Now using this refresh token value, we need to see how we can renew our access token, because this access token have validity of 60 minutes, I think, because that is what I've kept here. Like if I can go to the auth, access token management, REST ATM, I think by default I keep as a 60 minutes only. The access token lifetime, 60 minutes. But that's fine. We are not going to wait for the 60 minutes to expire. Before that, we just try to see that how it works in Postman. So let's go to the Postman. So let's copy these values for now. Copy this. Keep it in your notepad. Okay, so this is the information we receive, like we record the access token. Okay, fine. We got the token type, beer, refresh token value. Yeah, this is the refresh token value. Okay, next pricing. Yeah, these values we have. Okay, and token type is beer. Okay, this is the access token we have. Now what we can try, we need to try the refresh token grant test. If you remember the diagram, that we are passing the client credentials along with the refresh token value, then we'll get the new access token from the PingFederate authorization server. Okay, so I just let me decode this access token. So this is access token we have. Expiry is something this 1725105376. That's a time it's noting here. In 1 hour it's going to expire. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, now let's try and just decode this. Sorry, renew the access token what we have right now. So I'll go to the Postman. Let me close this. I'll open a new collection. Okay, in new collection I'll just open a new request, new HTTP request, add request. Okay, now let's go for this post call. Okay, and in the body just give x www form URL encoded, and then just pass few values here like client ID. Basically it's a client credentials, you can say client ID, client secret, along with the token. Wait, no, you're not supposed to pass the token, right? You need to pass grant type and the refresh token value. Grant underscore type and then refresh token value. Correct. So just pass these values, copy. You can copy from the Postman itself. Just go to, where is that? Auth yeah, this is the one I think we tested. Yeah, this is the client ID. Copy it. Enter it, and then this is the client secret. Grant type should be refresh token. Pass like this. Grant type should be refresh token, and refresh token value you need to give. So you receive some value from PingFederate, right? So yeah, you copied it here. Just put it in the Postman. So this is the parameter you are sending. So you have client ID, client secret, grant type, and refresh token. So the client credentials, grant type, and the refresh token, and then we need to go for the token call, right? So token call should be this one, and click on send. So we get 200. Okay, right? So let's see what we receive here. So this is the access token we receive using our refresh token. Let's copy it and bring in a notepad. Okay, now let's try to decode this access token. Let me copy it from here only. I'll go to jwt.io, put it here. So you can see we have 172.510.5644, right? So it basically just given us the new one. The earlier one is, we have, if I can just decode the old one, it's if I can decode this, it says 172.510.5376. yeah, so we receive a new access token. So this is a way, right? So you just need to register the connection in PingFederate using authorization code or maybe other flow what is enabled for the refresh token, and then yeah, you can just this is the way you can pass and get renew your access token before it expires, which basically establish the user connection. So you can see here user is not involved, right? Here I just passed the client credentials, client ID, client secret, and then I passed grant type and the refresh token value. It's not asked for a user to enter some to complete their authentication, because user has already completed the authentication. Here just we are trying to refresh our access token so that we can get a new access token. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, so I hope you understand. This is the way application developer has to do, right? So they need to just yeah, so for example, if the token having the lifetime 60 minutes, so they need to just, before that they need to just send this request to the PingFederate token endpoint with all this parameter in the body, right? Client ID, you can say client credentials basically say, and along with the grant type and the refresh token value. so they can get a new access token. Okay, so this is all, and I'll show you the refresh token settings also in PingFederate once. So go to system authorization server setting. Yeah, you can just make some changes on the refresh token configuration also. So this is authorization server setting. Yeah, refresh token and persistent grant. So refresh token length character, the roll refresh token values, it's a blank for now. Minimum interval to roll refresh tokens. Right now we are not rolling, right? That's why it's not send us a new refresh token value. Refresh token rolling grace period is 60 seconds, right? Okay. So this is the place where you can just do some changes for your refresh token, and yeah, you can do the testing as per your requirement. But yeah, this is the way, like, you need to configure in Ping and test in the Postman, and you can just guide the application team also to perform. Just write this in their code, right? So in their code also, they just need to do this way, in this fashion only. You can just take a snippet of code also from this Postman. Like if I can just show you that Java OK HTTP, you can see, right? It's just created the client. Okay, HTTP client equals new okay HTTP client, new builder or build, then yeah, application type, request party, client ID, client secret, and the client type and refresh token, and yeah, the URL, the method post, add header. So this is the thing, they need to write a code and they can just try to test. Yeah. Okay, let's connect for the next session. Thank you.